Maestro, thank you very much for accepting this little interview. It's the first day of our tour, of your tour, with the Orchestre National de France, and the first station will be here in Zurich at the Tonhalle. We are in Migros-Kulturprozent-Classics. This is the former Clubhouse concerts, and we're very proud and very happy that you have accepted to come to us. Thank you very much in advance. It's very special for us because it's also the first time that you are on tour here with us. The orchestra has been in '91 for the last time on tour, and you have chosen a very special program. You're coming with French repertoire. My first question, Maestro, is what does it mean to you personally, or how would you describe the French music? What is so special about it in comparison to others?
Well, it's not easy to describe shortly this kind of style. Every composer has a diversity, of course, and different sensibility. And above all, we are just presenting the end of the century and the beginning of the 20th century of the French repertoire. There is no Berlioz in this repertoire. And more on that, the program of this evening is made mainly on the second half of the program with Debussy and Ravel, which are the two major composers of the 20th century French music in a way, probably except the modern composer of French, Boulez, Dutilleux, Messiaen. But before the war, I mean, no doubt that Debussy and Ravel was the leading composer of France. And presenting two pieces that are, to my opinion, two different fortunes. In one way, Sehr, which has so rare performances in concert. He born like a ballet for the Diaghilev, and it's the last composition of Debussy. But it's the last Debussy. It's very cryptic in a way, and immensely difficult for the orchestra. I don't know why he has not in front of the audience the same fortune that the other Equisse symphonique or ballet music that Debussy written. Probably because, as I said before, his cryptical language and the form made by very short phrases and parentheses and bracket give to the piece sort of enigma in a way.
A musical enigma.
In a way, yeah. It's at the end has quite an impact, but it sounds like a modern piece. The solution, harmonical solution, the orchestration is really beyond the point as everybody knows about Debussy music. It's not anymore the mood of the Debussy of the Prélude à l'après-midi d'enfant, or La Mer, or Nocturne. It's just something beyond. On the other side, Daphne and Chloe, the second suite, is one of the most important and famous composition, and this is also, in a way, a showpiece for his strengths and virtuosity for the orchestra, because it's so. For this reason, the second half we decided to bring two pieces in contrasting between them, but enormously important for the music, for history music of France. On the other side, the first half is more intimate, if we can say that, with the suite from the four pieces from Pelléa Mélisande.
By Fauré this time,
Fauré,
yes, not by Debussy.
Not by Debussy, or better, not by Schoenberg. Or
yes, exactly.
For the concert. And the concerto for cello on the orchestra with Maestro Menezes. It's more small in a way, with the intimity character, which also French music has a lot.
This chamber music character in a way.
Yes, there is a noblesse in the music of Fauré, a sort of elegant side, a taste of that. I accumulate sometimes his way, his taste to the taste of Elgar in England. So this is just this noblesse in the music, in the small proportion too, not in the big proportion. We can say probably, with of course all the respect, that the French music has a differences between the itself and the German music, German tradition, mainly for the form. The tradition of the symphony is from the country of Germany and Austria. In France, there is less this kind of tradition. This is more équisse, more tableau.
More sketches,
in a way.
Yes, maybe more poetical in a certain way, more a certain French elegancy, maybe, which goes through the pieces.
And of course, particularly developed the orchestration. Berlioz was the first one. It's influenced Wagner too, to begin to explorate the potentially in sound of an orchestra with new effect. And it was the beginning of 1830 with the Symphonie Fantastique, with particularly technique, and then he influenced all the European composers.
What is then particular about a French orchestra? I mean, you are an Italian maestro. It's a little bit maybe easy to say that an Italian, not being French yourself, looks maybe through other eyes and listens through other ears this music and interprets this music maybe differently. Do you think that this is important nowadays, to have different interpretations by different people, and not to say this is standard and it should be like this? Do you think that this really counts nowadays?
Yes, absolutely. I think the music is written for everybody, and permit me to say that otherwise it's also possible for us to say this music goes just for the Germans, or this music goes just for the French, because they are more elected to understand. No. I come from a country where I think the tradition of great conductors is so high, starting from Toscanini, and even before him with Maestro Angelo Mariani at the Verdi time, or Franco Faccio. Mariani was the first conductor who wrote Wagner in Italy. The first operas of Wagner was conducted by him. And Toscanini, which is our great father in conducting, he was renewed to be more than an Italian conductor, as an international conductor. His Beethoven lessons, or Brahms, or Wagner. He adored probably more Wagner than Verdi, despite he met personally Verdi. But even today, if we talk about Toscanini, we recall immediately not just Verdi, but Beethoven, Brahms, Strauss, Wagner. So it's quite hard, no, to think that an Italian maestro, typical Latin maestro, has this great feeling with this music. And then De Sabata, Cantelli, Giulini, and all the maestros that now are still alive, I think, without forgive the nature of the Italianity, and so they were excellent and great in Italian repertoire. Someone preferred to do less Puccini and more Verdi, someone else does more Puccini rather than Verdi, but nobody of them, or may I say nobody of us, is just refused to conduct Italian repertoire. But I think the Italian tradition left a really very important trademark on the performance of the French repertoire, or better, the German repertoire. I don't know why, but it's like that.
Do you think maybe because you mentioned Toscanini, you mentioned De Sabata, you mentioned Giulini and others, and of course yourself, Maestro, is this because maybe Italian maestros have been following this operatic career next to the symphonic repertoire, maybe more than in other countries, which has given to you maybe something which is, and that's my next question, what does it give you more, what is the exchange of doing both things? Because not all of your colleagues are doing as much opera as you're doing.
Well, the German tradition does. More than the German tradition, mostly of the conductor comes from a tradition that is even different from our tradition, because in Germany there is the tradition of the Kapellmeister,
yes.
and Mahler itself was a Kapellmeister. So Mahler, Bruno Walter, Otto Klemperer, Karajan, and all.
Yes, absolutely. In Aachen, he was actually as a concertmaster.
And he was Kapellmeister for 25 years. So all the great conductors, I have to say that, as you said, were able to combine the two experiences, the theatrical, lyrical experience and the symphonic experience. And we cannot say that these maestros are specifically great in one repertoire or in one genre. The lyrism.
Yes, the human voice.
Yeah. I think that the combination of the structure, the architectonical vision of the music, combined with the lyrism, it could offer to the audience a particular experience in front of an interpretation, which an interpretation is not made by just the right tempo. What is the right tempo at the end?
Anyhow, yes.
Or the right balance, but it's also passed through the choice of the color, passed through the choice of an articulation in the orchestra. So it's how to explain, how to talk to the audience. For that reason, I'm less interested today of the so-called the sound of an orchestra. Mm-hmm. Often people ask me, what you can say about the color? Is this orchestra has a sound? The others, yes, okay, yeah, thanks God, yes. But at the end, I'm still interested at what a performance could say, what an interpretation could say. Because when I began to listen to a concert, in 2 minutes I'm just forgiving what's,
yes.
What is this? Forgetting, sorry, not forgiving, forgetting. I have nothing to forgive to the orchestra. To forgetting. What is a sound? I'm much more touched by an interpretation idea. And then if the sound the orchestra is supporting this view, so I can say I'm in front of a really rave concert.
If they understand you, if they understand your concept, the musicians, and in this sense, do you think you mentioned someone like Toscanini? It were of course different times, or Furtwängler, or Klemperer, or Karajan even. Has it changed now, or is it possible for a conductor like you, maestro, to impose a certain idea or a certain color on an orchestra, as it was maybe a little bit 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 years ago? Or is it more become a dialogue between your ideas and maybe the possibilities of the orchestra, and maybe sometimes also ideas coming from the orchestra? Is it more a dialogue nowadays, the work between a conductor and an orchestra to reach what you said? Do you think it is more than that compared to before?
Yeah, it's like that. It's not totally like that, probably. We can say that an orchestra is the result of a legacy which comes from the school of a country. So the Italian school of strings or the woodwind instruments is completely different from the school in French. The brass school in America or in England is different from the brass school in Italy. And in Germany they have another kind of color or another kind to approach the brass or the woodwind. So all of that can give to the orchestra a special and natural color. But the musicians are also addressed during the study year to change and to modulate. Yeah. Yeah. So as an orchestra is very sensitive and with a palette of technical chants, a conductor could fish from that and to say we can try. I do also with my orchestra here when we are doing the German repertoire. So sometimes I really understand that we are on the limit, because the sound I have in my mind is maybe darker, respect the sound that the orchestra could offer to me. I can stay in the limits that the orchestra proposed to me. Otherwise, I have to change completely the nature of the orchestra. In this case, we are talking just a little balance. In France, for instance, we have the bassoon, which is the bassoon, but it's called bassoon, and fagotte.
Fagotte, bassoon, right?
And just this example, because the Rite of Spring, Stravinsky, was composed for a French orchestra, and especially the beginning, made with a French orchestra. This call of the bassoon is really different. Respect the same beginning with a fagotte, which is a little bit darker, a little bit less transparent, rather than French bassoon.
So it's a completely different color.
But we talk about a minimal difference, not an enormous difference.
Which is not often really heard by a larger amount of the public and the listeners.
But if the bassonist has a feeling with this kind of instrument and he is able to begin, and then if we listen, Stravinsky was quite direct. Sometimes especially with the French orchestra, we like to start with this solo with a lot of mystery. And what is the truth? To listen how Stravinsky did it, or maybe also to find if behind the notes there is hidden something different, because that was still Stravinsky in the Russian period of his life. It was not so straight and squared and anti-romantic like afterward.
So there are many things which come together. I mean, would you also subscribe something which Georges Prêtre was saying about himself? I asked him once in an interview if he felt himself like being a great conductor, and he said actually he doesn't feel being a conductor, he feels like an interpreter. And to him it was a big difference. Can you comment? I mean, would you also subscribe this?
Yes, I subscribe that, and I would like also that the audience could judge a conductor without seeing him. A lot of time we are under the judgment of a public because the charisma of the position of the conductor is so attractive, and also so disturbing. I conducted 4 years in Bayreuth, and that was the best.
Because one cannot see you.
Yes, it's just listen. Just listen. I also understand that a superficial side of the music is also important. So I mean, the right of that, to see the musician play, to see the movement of a conductor that could help the music to be more comprehensive. But I quote totally the fact that an interpreter is mainly to be interpreted is the main mission for me, and then I can do through conducting, and because I feel very good on it. I feel in my natural elements.
Thank you very much, Maestro, for sharing this precious thoughts with us.
Thank you very much.
And I wish you great success tonight and for all the coming concerts.
Thank you, very kind.
Thank you, Maestro.